Hey guys, it's Sandra. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is another year of the ear, but this month is super special and very different. If you guys are new to my channel, or maybe this is the first time you're catching a year of the ear is a monthly based swap where a bunch of us Disney YouTubers get together and swap DIY Mickey ears. So the only rule in the swap traditionally is that you don't have to go off your person's preferences and they do have to be handmade, whether that's by you or by a small shop. You just can't purchase licensed ears. However, for this month, there's a special twist. So Mary and Tony at the SisketEars created this swap 5 years ago. This is actually the 5th year and it's the final year. And this month is the first time that we're doing something really different, and we're actually sending craft supplies to our person, not a set of ears. So what I have right here is a box full of craft supplies for the theme, which is just magic. Mary was so honestly smart to pick something kind of broad. It can kind of apply to like a lot of different things, especially with Disney, because Disney basically just is magic. But you were supposed to take that word magic and then using that theme, send your person a box of supplies to make ears. We did all agree we didn't have to send like headbands or stuffing or anything like that, because that's all kind of stuff that we probably all have on hand as is. So just kind of like the fun stuff. So I do have my box here. I am gonna go ahead and get into this. I'm going to unbox all of the craft supplies in front of you guys. I have no idea what's in this box. And then the rest of this video will be me creating the ears using the things in this box. Mary did say that we can pull from our own craft stashes if we need to, but obviously we need to try to use everything that was sent to us. Okay, so I do see who this is from, but I am gonna hold off in case there's a card inside. Okay, so I've barely peeked and it's already just super cute inside. So there is a Minnie Mouse card right on top. Greetings, Sarah. For this month's theme of magic, I'm challenging you to use the dollar store items. We know Dollar Tree's my jam. Provided to recreate Mickey's iconic Sorcerer costume into a pair of ears. Oh, I love that because I don't have any Sorcerer Mickey ears. Can't wait to see them from Jolie at I Spy with my little eye. That is so sweet. I am so excited. What a fun prompt. And I love that everything's from Dollar Tree, because if you guys have been with my channel, you know how often I'm at that store. Okay, this will be interesting though, because she's from Canada. And so it'll be interesting to see what like a Canada Dollar Tree has. Okay, so right away I see these really cool plastic stencils. And look, there's like a moon right there. That'll be perfect. And then we've got little stars as well. But we also have kind of like, you know, that could be like magic. And then we have like a sun, a cloud, and lightning. So it's like that's very, very cool. And this is like a nice, the stencil's fine. What I was about to say is this is such a nice stencil. Okay, and then there's a second stencil. And I feel like she picked this one specifically because we've got this kind of star. And then we also have a bigger version of like a traditional star, and then a bunch of other shapes. That's fantastic. I also have 2 little girls, so that will get its use even after this challenge is over. Okay, the next is making me laugh so hard because this is so creative and I literally know exactly what it's for. So she sent me like a little tiny traffic cone, but clearly that's for the Sorcerer Mickey hat. That is so smart. Okay, I've made tons of little Mickey hats on my channel, like quite a few pairs of ears. I've made hats from scratch. So the fact that she sent me like a little base, that's awesome. Thank you. Okay, next we have some fabrics. Okay, so is this from your Dollar Tree? Oh, from Dollarama. Okay, this was $4. That makes more sense because I was like, there's literally no way this was $1. This huge thing was $1. Okay, this is actually a pillowcase cover. And look, it's like that sequin material where you like turn it one way and it turns silver, but the other side is red. Oh my gosh, how freaking cool is that? Okay, very cool. Like his robe, like the robe that he wears. Okay, okay. And then we have some gold rope trim, like the belt that he wears around his robe. How freaking cool is that? Okay, and then last 2 things. She actually did send me some stuffing, and then she sent me some felt as well. So we've got some yellow felt, and then we also have some blue felt for the base. This is going to be very fun. So I'm wondering, because there's no paint in here, Because initially I was thinking the stencils were to paint, but now I'm wondering if the stencils are to like trace onto the felt and then cut them out. I don't know. We'll see. The thing is, we're allowed to use stuff in our own stash, so there is a chance that I might pull some paint. I don't know. Let's just see where this goes. Let's go DIY.
So starting out with the base for the ear itself, I did use the pillowcase that she sent me, but I saw that it actually had this silky side on the back, and I personally really preferred that to the sequin side. I don't know what it is about it. It reminded me more of Sorcerer Mickey than the sequins. So I'm going to start by detaching the back of the pillowcase from the front of the pillowcase so that I can have an easier time cutting out the ear template in order to make the ears. So like I said, I'm going to be using my ear cutting line template. I do have these linked down below for you guys. Now, because this fabric is very satiny, I did decide to overcut the template. So you can see me here. I'm not doing a perfect job. I'm literally just laying the template down and then overcutting it by about 1/2 inch. And that's because satin fabric does not stretch at all. You won't have any kind of give to it, so I do like to overcut it just to make sure that I have plenty of fabric to work with. And I went ahead and cut 4 of those. And then next I traced the foam and batting template, which is the smallest template that I have linked down below for you guys. I did cut out 4 of these, but I'm only going to show you 3 right now. And then I cut those out using my X-Acto knife. So at this point I had 4 satin ears and 4 cardboard ears. And then the final layer of the ears is felt for me personally. I don't like using polyfill on my ears, so I'm going to be using that same ear cutting line template, the largest one, and I'm going to trace this 4 times onto a piece of felt. Again, I know you're only seeing 3 here, but you will need 4. So I'm going to cut 3 out of the felt, and then we are going to start assembling the ears. I know I'm moving a little bit fast, but I have tons of ear tutorials on my channel, and these steps I repeat in pretty much all of them, so I'm trying to kind of move quickly through them. So now on to assembling the ear. I'm going to place the cardboard down onto the felt and doing a thin line of hot glue. I'm going to start folding over the felt and tapping it down into the hot glue. This is going to help reinforce the cardboard and also give it a nice finished look, as opposed to just adding the fabric straight onto the cardboard, and it's also going to help the ears last much, much longer. And then I will work my way around the sides of the ears, again doing a thin line of hot glue and tapping down the felt into the hot glue. I don't like to close up the bottom of the felt until I get to the fabric. That's just my personal preference. I find that it works a little bit better. So I'm going to move on to the satin fabric. I'm going to lay my ear down on top of this and then repeat the same steps of doing a thin line of hot glue and then folding over my fabric and tapping it down. This little finger cover I'm wearing is from Dollar Tree. They sell these in a 3-pack, and it's just a little silicone finger cover, and for the most part it does protect your finger from the heat of the hot glue. So after I've worked my way all the way around the sides, then I'm going to cut down the middle of the bottom portion of fabric on the ear. I hope that makes sense. If you snip that portion in half, it will fold over much better and prevent any type of weird puckering in the fabric, especially for satin fabrics. So first I glued down the felt flaps, and then I went in and glued down these satin flaps, and now you have 1/2 of an ear. So then you're going to want to repeat these steps for the other 3 pieces. Once you have 4 halves, then you can connect 2 halves together just by adding some hot glue and then firmly pressing them down until that glue is totally set and dry. And then obviously you're going to want to make sure you don't get your glue too close to the edges, because you don't want the glue to not ease. You don't want the glue to ooze out of the edges of the ear. For the trim on these ears, I'm going to be using the gold rope trim that she sent me, and this is literally perfect for this, so I was really glad she sent it to me. So I'm going to do a thin line of hot glue on the rim of the ear, and then I'm just going to tap down this trim into the hot glue. I am going to cut off the end that's sticking out, but this rope trim will unravel once you cut it, so you do have to work kind of quickly once you've cut it. So I'm just finishing off the hot glue on the rim of the ear, and then I'm just going to tap down the trim into it. And then if you can see here, the trim is a little bit too long on the ear, so I am going to snip off the excess and then burn the edges of my trim. That didn't look particularly pretty on this set of ears. It did leave like a black charring effect, which was okay. Honestly, I'd rather that than the rope start to unravel. So just be careful. Obviously, fire can be dangerous. And then for the hat, you guys, I really tried to use this cone, but I could not cut through this plastic. I don't know why. You can see where I tried to like create kind of a circle, but the cut line was so ugly. Like I was never going to get a nice base around this hat. And then on top of that, it just, I could not cut through it. So instead I decided to improvise and just use the felt for the hat. So for this portion, I honestly just kind of trial and errored this. I had actually already made one hat, but it came out too small. So now I'm going to make an appropriately sized one. And I'm doing this just by folding over the felt into kind of a cone shape and then trimming off any excess. And then I'm going to hot glue this into place and create that wizard hat type of shape. I started by just tacking down the like tip of the hat, and then I'm going to do a thin line of hot glue and press down the fold to close up the hat completely. To cut the bottom portion of the hat and even it out, at first I tried to cut a straight line, which is stupid because that's just not going to work. So you do have to cut it on a curve if you're following these instructions to make your own set. So just make sure that you follow it a little bit on a curve because that's how a cone shape works. Geometry, I guess. For the moon and the stars, I thought I was going to use puffy paint initially to do this, but I did decide to test it out, and I'm so glad I did because it just didn't look exactly how I wanted it to. So the stencil honestly was really great. It was the puffy paint that I didn't like. So I kind of popped it off of this scrap piece of felt, and I wasn't in love with the kind of messy look to this. So instead I decided to use a white scrap piece of felt that I had on hand, and just using a pencil I traced the moon and some of the stars onto the felt. Now the stars on this blue stencil were too small for me to cut out using my X-Acto knife and my fabric cutter. I just wasn't able to do it. They kind of just kept coming out like little blobbies. But the moon came out really, really great. And then on the pink stencil there is a much larger star that I was able to use, so that turned out really great, and I was able to get the moon and 2 stars and create my little wizard hat, or sorry, sorcerer hat. Now initially I just placed the felt onto the felt hat, and it does stick, just to kind of give you an idea of placement, but obviously you're going to want a more permanent hold, so I did use hot glue to attach these permanently. I also decided to go in with this silver trim that I had on hand and just add it to the bottom of the hat. I thought it gave it a nice finished look. I know Mickey's hat doesn't technically have a silver bottom, but I still liked the way that this looks. So just doing a thin line of hot glue, I'm just tacking down this trim, and then I will cut off the excess and finish it off. And then giving it a quick lint roll, trying to get off some of the fuzz from the felt and the hot glue. This is what the little hat looks like. So next we're going to start assembling the ears. I'm going to be using my ear spacing template. I have this linked down below for you guys as well, and I pretty much use this every single time if I can find it. But I'm going to add hot glue to the bottom of the first ear and then firmly press that down onto the headband and allow that glue to fully dry before moving on to the other ear and repeating that step. Just adding hot glue to the bottom portion of the ear and then firmly pressing it down onto my headband. That little spatula that you guys just saw me use to clean up the hot glue that came out the bottom of the ear is actually a face mask applicator from Dollar Tree. It's very handy for that. Now the hat was sitting a little bit funny on the headband, so I did cut the sides of it, like I cut a little slit into the side of the hat. And that did help, but I actually ended up having to cut a notch. So the slit itself wasn't enough. I did have to cut out a little chunk of the hat in order to make this work and have it sit nicely on the headband, which is what you can see me doing here, just cutting out a little triangle notch on both sides. That'll accommodate the width of the ear a little bit better, and it'll allow your hat to sit kind of flat on your head when you're wearing the headband, which is what I personally wanted. So now I'm going to tack this down just by hot gluing it onto the headband where the base of the hat is. Luckily, because this hat is made of felt, it's so incredibly lightweight that it didn't take much glue in order to attach it securely. And then I am going to let the front of this dry before flipping it over and gluing the back of the hat down. So while that's drying, I'm going to create a little bow using the rest of that gold trim, not the rest of it, but a little bit more of that gold trim that I was sent. I decided that I thought the ears were a little bit too plain looking just being red. So I just tied the gold rope trim into a bow shape, and then I'm going to be securing that and gluing it down onto one of the ears. I also decided that I wanted it to look like the rope was wrapping around the ear, kind of like Mickey's little sash around his red robe. So I did take additional rope trim and I'm going to wrap it all the way around the ear and glue it underneath this bow. I should have done this part first before gluing the bow on, and I know that, but I didn't know I wanted to do this yet, so you live and you learn. So I'm just gluing down one end of the rope and then wrapping it all the way around the ear. I'm going to cut off my excess. I do highly suggest burning the edges of the rope because it will make it much, much easier to glue this down and get a nice clean finished edge. And then in order to further secure it, I am going to flip it over and add a little dot of hot glue underneath the back of the rope as well. I just want to make sure it's not sliding around or at risk for falling off. And while I have these ears flipped over, I'm also going to glue down the back portion of the hat. This was a little bit trickier than the front, but not too difficult. Now you can definitely stop at this point. The ears are super cute. They're so evidently Sorcerer Mickey, and I really love them. However, I did have a dowel on hand as well as some jute twine, and so I decided to make a little mop like in the scene from Fantasia. So taking the jute twine, I'm wrapping it around 3 of my fingers several times, and then I'm going to cut it and leave it wound up because that's what's going to create the broom portion, or the, what is that called? The bristle portion of the broom. And in order to secure it, I'm going to cut off another piece of twine. I'm so sorry, I'm not in frame very well. But I'm going to tie that around this little bushel of twine that I've created. So I do realize that this is an entire loop, and I'm going to cut it in just a second. I promise this will look more like a broom. Just see, look, it's already coming together. So on one portion of all those loops, I just snipped through it. And now I am taking the ropes and splitting them in half and burning the edges a little bit, and I'm also going to be adding some hot glue. And that's because I'm super picky and I really wanted this to look like the little mops, or I don't know, I think they're mops, right? Because of the buckets and the water. But I think that I wanted it to look like the ones in the movie. So I did split the bristles in half, and then I used hot glue to secure it. And honestly, this will probably burn your fingers if you do it, so just be careful. Maybe wear the finger covers if you have them, unlike me, who's just being stubborn right now. And I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue and then twisting the jute twine around the hot glue. Oh, look, I brought it out. And now I have that little shape of the mop in the movie. And then for the dowel, I already had cut it down to be pretty short, and to attach it, I'm literally just adding some hot glue and shoving it down into the middle of this little bristle bundle that I've created. I did play with the placement of this, but I just personally really liked how it looked sitting on top of the headband. So after adding a little bit of hot glue to the back and just really tightening the jute twine around the dowel, I'm going to glue this onto the ear where it looks like it is walking across the headband. And then I did trim down the dowel rod just a teeny bit more because it was sticking out a little bit too much. But that is the final step in making these little Sorcerer Mickey ears. I think they came out really cute.
Okay guys, I'm gonna film this pretty informally because it is very early in the morning. But this is when I'm kind of able to film. Sorry that I'm talking really quiet, but everybody's still asleep. But these are the ears. I think they came out pretty cute. I was a little bit disappointed I wasn't able to make that cone work, but I tried. I really did try. I do like the little broom I added. I think the hat actually came out really cute, considering it's just made of felt. So, and that little stencil really did help because I don't know how I would have gotten the moon and the stars otherwise, because like I hated the puffy paint. Because I probably could have freehanded it with the puffy paint, but I didn't like how it looked. So I'm really, really glad I had the stencil. And overall, I just really liked how they turned out. I think they're very clearly Sorcerer Mickey and perfect for the theme magic. And I'm really happy with them. So you guys are going to have to let me know if you would have done anything differently in the comments. And be sure to go check out who I sent my supplies to and how they did on their ears, and everybody else, of course, because I have everyone linked down below in the description box. One more huge thank you to Mary and Tony for hosting this every single month, because it is a huge undertaking and I'm just so grateful that they are willing to take it on each month. And again, you guys, this is the last year of the Ear. This is year 5, and so we actually only have 2 months left. We only have November and December left, so be sure that you guys are subscribed to everyone so that you do not miss those last 2 months, because I guarantee you they're going to be very good. One final thank you to Julie, who sent me all of my supplies. I really love the theme that you chose for me, and I'm so grateful that you sent me options and like everything, like from stuffing to honestly like sequins to satin to different colors of felt and everything. I'm just really grateful that I had plenty to work with, so thank you so much. If you guys did make it all the way through, then be sure to leave a little moon emoji for me so that I knew you were with me all the way to the end. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.